This week on Nothing Good.
Well, shit. What, are you serious?
I mean,
because we can.
Keep it.
Welcome back to the show.
Yeah, we clearly don't know what the fuck we're doing.
No.
It's been... let's get the elephant in the room. Let's address it. We have not recorded in months. So life got really hardcore in the way for one or two of us. And unfortunately, we're not beholden to you motherfuckers, so we didn't record. But I apologize on behalf of the team. We will do our best to make sure that we are consistent back to it again, and that's our plan.
I thought it was because Waterworld was so bad that it broke the show.
And I actually thought Waterworld broke their show in a good way. I've had a number of people come up to me just about the introduction alone on that one. And a lot of people really enjoyed us just, taking the piss out of that movie. Just
You
the
mean
way,
drinking the piss out of it, because that's what they do in that
just
movie.
the way that Kevin Costner did. Just the way Kevin Costner did in the first 2 minutes of that movie.
Never start with piss drinking. It's a slippery slope.
Waterworld Revisited this week. Nothing good.
Let's not do.
Oh,
Look, I was futzing around on the Peacock app yesterday, and I saw Waterworld, and I just never watching that movie ever
Waterworld
again.
PTSD now.
Yeah,
you just can't do it.
I've now seen that movie like 3 times in my life, I think. 2 or 3 times. That's more than enough for the rest of my life. My natural born life.
Yeah,
I go
no
another
need to go
40
back
years
to that.
without it.
Yeah, the one time for me was enough.
Ugh.
It's like when you try anal for the first time. You realize you don't like it, and you're like, you know what, I'm good now. Not like I have any experience with this. I've just heard.
Wait, do you mean... You know what? That's a personal question we're not going to ask.
Yeah, we'll just put a pin in that.
We'll put a pin in that. That'll be another intro.
Yeah.
So that one time a thumb just kind of slipped into your butthole, and you just didn't really know what to do with it.
Okay.
So what are you guys drinking?
Well, it's summer. So really, first off, too, as you mentioned, Jones, just about the show in general and us not being beholden to the listeners, I want the listeners to know we thought about it a lot.
Yes.
We did.
We did.
There were a lot of conversations.
There are lots of conversations.
Just daily thinking about it, and then still not doing it.
And you would think that after being off for, I'd say about a good 7 weeks, I think since we recorded or so, we would be much more prepared for this episode. And we're just not.
This is like the worst topic to come back to.
It really is.
Well, I think part of it is it's the easiest topic to come back to because A, we don't really know what the fuck we're talking about, and B, we don't really have a plan about how we're talking about it, but it's so broad that we could just bullshit about it for the next 45 minutes or an hour.
And before I forget, I was thinking like, okay, so we took all this time off, and we've done this before, obviously, when we kind of had a shakeup in the hierarchy of the hosts, and we were like, what are we going to do? How are we going to do it? We came back and we recorded for like 2 months and then stopped again. So maybe we could just call what we just did our mid-season break.
Yeah.
I like
fine.
that. Yeah.
I agree.
Mid-season premiere today.
Yeah.
We took some personal time.
Yes.
It's like when
needed.
TV shows go on hiatus for the holidays, You guys were just subjected to 7 weeks of having to listen to British baking shows. And,
so welcome to the mid-season premiere.
Exactly.
I'm down with that.
That works.
It's like we planned it.
Yeah.
Last time we recorded, it was springtime.
It was.
Now it's the middle of the
now
summer.
it's fucking
It is.
hot outside.
We are past the 4th of July. We're in the second half of summer. Does it feel weird to you guys that like when you get to the 4th of July, it feels like you got to really hurry up in summer because fall comes so fucking fast?
I saw a commercial yesterday for back to school stuff already, and I punched the wall.
Yeah, it's stupid.
So, fun fact about back to school. I'm happy you mentioned it.
Okay.
So, Toys R Us, back to school stuff would be put out 3 weeks after school ended. We would have back to school out before the end of June.
How the fuck do you even justify that?
I couldn't, but they could.
Yeah. And some places have Halloween stuff out already.
Oh, they do?
Yeah.
We saw when we were coming back from, so we were camping just recently in the mountains of West Virginia, wild and wonderful as they say, and it was fantastic place. Seneca rocks, dear sweet listeners, if you decide to ever go outside and do those types of things. But Steph found an ad where I guess Duncan's already like August 16th. That's the date for the pumpkin spice.
Fuck off.
So they're I mean, and I'm waiting for Giant Eagle. I mean, in a couple of weeks they're probably putting the Halloween candy out. So
I hate it.
I do
We all
too.
worked in retail. We all know the fucking pain and
we do.
struggle.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
the pallets
The
show
struggle
up
is
and
real
it's
there.
fucking Halloween and like motherfucker, it's August 1st.
Yeah. Yeah. But you got no major like purchasing holidays between 4th of July and Halloween. So if you want to get your merch out, and you know what, it works because let me tell you, when we went camping, we have a container of stuff packed away of just camping gear. We don't keep it in the house. We have a little storage unit and we put the stuff down there. And when I went to go get it, I found it amongst these 6 boxes of Halloween decorations that we just have sitting down there. And I'm like, motherfucker, we bought all this in like the last 2 years. Like no Christmas shopping really for Christmas decorations, just all like Halloween. And I'm like, fuckers got us.
Yeah. Well, in our house, we're a hardcore Halloween family, so we've already started making Halloween purchases
Yeah.
as of last week. So
I mean, you've had a skeleton in your front yard for 2 years.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's not a joke.
No, it's not.
No,
real
not
life.
an exaggeration whatsoever.
I mean, he's not out there right this second, but
Well, that's because nature took him down.
yeah,
If
that did happen.
Yeah.
Also.
God said no more.
If nature didn't, you would have had that son of a bitch dressed up like Uncle Sam celebrating the 4th with sparklers in
I
his
repaired
hands.
his head.
Yeah.
What was broken, and he will live again.
Yeah.
So, back to what you're drinking, Dave.
So I'm glad
Summer, that was the segue.
Yes.
well, that's
yeah.
the segue. Yeah. So
Now we remember how to do this.
I am very happy to be drinking a Leinenkugel's Summer Shandy.
Fucking hate that word. I hate that
what,
name.
Summer Shandy?
No,
Shandy?
Leinenkugel.
Oh,
Leinenkugel?
That sounds
Leinenkugel.
dirty.
It sounds like something that like you do at your
Like-
desk to strengthen your butthole
What do you say?
muscles.
Is it Kugel? Leinenkugel?
Leinenkegels?
Kegel? Kegels?
That sounds even worse.
Sometimes
I know what that means.
I mean, some people do Leinenkegels.
There's like 3
guessing.
different visuals I have with that
I'm,
statement.
I'm glad
There's
that I'm glad
There's
that
a lot going on in your head
glad
today,
there's
Dave.
just listen. There's been I've got 2 months of this that's been built up, and I absolutely cannot say this kind of stuff to Stephanie.
I suppose not.
At least like more than once a week. So there are a few things I will not be saying that I have casually just kind of like shared with her, but not all of it.
Okay.
So, but yeah, Leinenkugel Summer Shandy. It is. It's a light, refreshing beer. I enjoy it. So it's a good summer beer.
Nice. I am drinking an alcoholic iced tea
Oh, you
from
fancy fuck.
Cinderlands, which is the local brewery here. It's called Cindy's Hard Mountain Tea. And basically, if you've ever had like Lipton lemon tea, like brisk tea, it basically tastes like that, but it's 7% alcohol.
I almost bought, when I was at the six-pack shop, there was like a hard tea brewery I never heard of. And I'm like, I've never had like I don't drink stuff like that normally.
Yeah, it's not like the Iron City Turner's tea, which is just like a malt beverage that kind of tastes like there's tea in it. Like it's actually like just
Like,
alcoholic.
it's
iced
tea and they poured whiskey in it.
I'm really glad that you mentioned that beer, Jeff. Stay tuned to a future episode of Nothing Good.
that particular beer has been like one of my summer go-tos because it's super cheap and it's kind of refreshing. It's a little weird at first, but you get used to it.
I had a
Kind of like anal, right, Dave?
yeah. No, it's not at all. When that beer is going to come up again in a later episode of the Nothing Good podcast, I have a very specific thought that I discovered while camping about this beer because I took it with me camping to share with the Pittsburghers that were on the camping trip and the non-Pittsburghers that were on the camping trip. That I will save that little anecdote for that episode, but I think it fits, and I know Jones will totally agree with it. Well, you might totally agree with it, but I feel like it's like a Jones thing.
Listen, you don't fucking
We'll
speak
find
for me.
out in a future episode if Jones agrees with that or not.
God damn it.
Stay tuned.
Oh, boy.
What are you drinking, Doc?
I'm drinking a Guinness Nitro Cold Brew Coffee because, I mean, I was up... First of all, we're recording earlier than normal today, although technically we're almost kind of what time we would normally start because we took forever to
It's
fucking
still
start.
morning.
Yeah.
But we kind of gathered together around 9:30 in the morning, which is really fucking early to record a podcast. And I was up till 3:30 in the morning playing Diablo 4 because I'm 16 years old still. So I'm fucking tired.
How is it?
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Listen, I don't know if you've.
You will never know.
Well, first of all,
Everyone who listens to this show
they already
knows
fucking
that
know
you will
you're not
never
gonna
know.
play it.
Yeah, but we could cover it in an episode. And
Oh
I
my
can sit
God.
down and listen to you guys talk about it.
First of all, that was fantastic, by the
No
way,
problem.
Jeff.
Still got it.
Jesus Christ.
Tip of the hat to you, sir.
That was so quick and so well played. I almost shouldn't say another word.
The fact that you had that just like loaded,
it was cocked and
It's
just
always
cocked
there.
and loaded,
It's
just ready
always
to
there.
go.
So, look, I don't know how many actual gamers listen to our show. I'd assume there's at least 3 of you. I don't. Have you ever played Diablo, Jeff?
Mm-hmm.
Like
Not Diablo 4.
3?
but Yes.
Yeah. Okay, listen. So, Diablo 3, which I've also played, I own. It's okay. I mean, it's not a bad game. Like, it's an ARPG. It is what it is. Oh, fuck. Diablo 4 is exactly the game it needs to be. It's dark. It's violent. It's evil. It's bloody.
And it looks beautiful.
It's so fucking pretty, and it's so addicting. I have now, because of just adult life gets in the fucking way, I don't get the chance to play it as much. So basically now, folks, I'm 40 years old, and I've reached the point where my game time, I have to fit it in a way that, like, it doesn't get in the way of responsibilities, obviously, because I have to be an adult. So, like, my game time now, it used to be 15 years ago, it'd be like, get home from work, fuck, I'm gonna play a game for a little bit. What the fuck else am I doing right now? 20 years ago, get home from school, get home from work, I'm gonna sit down and play some fucking video games. What else am I gonna do with my time? Now, it's like, well, I gotta go grocery shopping, I gotta do laundry, I gotta clean, I gotta hang out with the wife, we're gonna go do this, I gotta see my dad, I gotta go here, I gotta go there. I'm fucking tired.
Yeah. Well, and at some point, you're going to get to where I am right now, where I just want to play fucking Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, but every time I come home, my teenager is playing Ark on Xbox Live.
At least I have taste. Ark's
And
not
I'm like,
terrible.
I'm like, can you just not play that?
Could you get the fuck out?
They're like, well, both systems are on the same TV, so
Listen, you gotta
somebody's
fix that.
gotta wait.
Get yourself a fucking gaming monitor and just be done with it.
I should.
Listen,
Yeah, I don't know why you haven't made that. jump yet.
That's what I fucking did.
I have all the retro stuff. All the retro systems are up on the TV downstairs. The Xbox and Switch are up here, and then I have smaller TVs and monitors upstairs. But
Now my game time consists of weekend, like Friday, Saturday nights, late. Like, wife goes to bed. I'm usually up late watching TV or YouTube or whatever anyhow. So from the time she goes to bed, which is like, yeah, she goes to bed. Remember back when we were young, Allie was like, we would party back in those days, and she was up late. Like, she'd close the bar down with us.
So late it was early.
Yeah, but she's not that person anymore. Married life has slowed her down.
Are any of us that person anymore?
No.
I think we try to be.
Yeah.
And then
There are times that
don't
we
succeed.
like to pretend, but
Yeah.
like something happened around 35 where it just doesn't work the same
Yeah.
way anymore.
So from like midnight to like 3 a.m, I'll just play whatever game I've been wanting to play all goddamn week, and then I'll go to sleep, get up early, super early, just so I can play again before my wife gets up for the day.
Yeah.
And as soon as she starts rattling around getting up, I just turn it off and go, I'll be back later Saturday night to see you. But I find that at least I can find that time. But with a game like back to Diablo 4, like this is the game we're talking about today apparently, but back to Diablo 4, it's such a lengthy game, and it's an ARPG, which is like there's a lot of grinding, a lot of end game stuff, a lot of like finding and perfecting your build.
Yeah, it's a slow burn.
It sounds a lot like the last porn I watched.
Was it also called Diablo 4?
Yes.
Okay then. So
A lot of grinding, a lot of building.
a lot of building.
Yeah.
Building towards what? We'll never know.
Big payoff.
But yeah, I highly
you
recommend
know.
it. If you ever find you have the disposable cash for it and it's something you're interested in, I will gladly play Diablo. I'll create a new character with you, Jeff. I will play that fucking game because it's so fucking good. But we're not here to talk about Diablo 4 and my fucking unhealthy gaming habits as a 40-year-old. We're here to talk.
We're here to talk about a game that Dave actually played.
Yeah, multiple versions of the game that Dave actually played.
The funny thing is, if you look at the entirety of the catalog of this series so far, all the games we've covered, I'm pretty confident Dave has played, not counting the retro ones, because they don't count, actual generally current games. And by general, I mean within the last 20 years. He's played one of them.
And it's this one. No, there's actually
That's not true. You played Tony Hawk for 20
Yeah,
I
minutes.
played
Exactly.
Tony Hawk for 20 minutes. I played Hellblade for a little over 3 hours.
You gave BioShock Infinite a run for like 45 minutes.
I gave it a 45-minute run, yeah. But this is one that I'm, obviously it's a simple game to play.
This was your suggestion, wasn't it?
It was.
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't necessarily. I didn't put it on the list.
No, but you picked it.
But I picked it because I thought it was a lighter topic to kind of talk about and everything. And it's something that I've played a lot with my nephews. With not a listener of the show, which, considering our interests, I don't know why, Mike Aniskevich, calling you out. We just were playing this when we were at the cabin just a couple of weeks ago. And it is today's episode, ladies and gentlemen, is the Mario Kart series.
Yeah, in case you live under a rock, it's a go-kart game with Mario characters.
Wait,
Been around for a long-ass time.
that's what it is?
Yeah, what do you think it was?
Oh, shit.
You played the wrong game, didn't you?
Oh, again. Sorry. Mine had SpongeBob in it.
Ah, shit.
Nicktoons Racing.
Oh,
Racing.
no.
It is not that.
No, nobody really played that. Actually, some people did play that. I remember selling that game and looking at them and being like, why don't you just go buy a fucking Nintendo and buy Mario Kart and be happy about it instead of, like, settling for this?
So how many knockoffs have there been?
Because
That's one. And I was thinking about that when I was doing my very, very weak sauce research on this subject. I'm like, man, I should sit down and look at all the knockoffs, and I didn't do it. But I know there's a bunch.
There's a ton.
Well, because, if you think about just the history of racing games, and where it came from, where it is now, and what series over time have dominated it, I'd say at the time that Mario Kart came out right around, I'd say probably the biggest racing game you would have was at that time would have been F-Zero.
It was. So how the first Mario Kart came to be was F-Zero was a huge success.
Massive,
like
awesome
worldwide.
game.
Like it was massive success. Great racing game. Single player though.
Yeah.
So Shigeru Miyamoto from Nintendo, who created Mario, he's like, I really want another racing game, but I don't want something that you have to play by yourself. Like, I want a multiplayer experience, which didn't really exist at the time. So Mario Kart was like this side project where they wanted a multiplayer racing game. Didn't really care that it was Mario that got sort of roped into it. But really the only racing games that were out there was like, I mean, we're talking about Super Nintendo days, so the graphics weren't really there. Everything was like F1 racing or like race car racing. So the developers were like, well, we want to do something different. They're like, what about go-karts? And they're like, that's an okay idea. Meanwhile, all these developers in Japan had never ridden go-karts before. Like, they didn't actually know what the go-kart experience was. They just, like, they knew what a go-kart looked like.
It was the 90s, and they're just
So they
rolling
basically
around on rickshaws.
So basically, they took a field trip and rented out a go-kart park for the day, and the developers were there, the designers were there, the coders were there, and they just started sketching up like what this could look like, and it got released with very little fanfare, very little advertising. They're like, it's Mario, so it's gonna sell some copies, and it was a fucking massive success. Like, they weren't anticipating that.
Yeah.
And if you look at the longevity of it as a result, I mean, what started with Super Mario Kart in 1992, there's now 14 iterations
It's wild.
of it,
Yeah.
and it's still going.
It'll never stop.
No.
It'll never
And it's the
stop.
most successful selling racing franchise of all time, and one of Nintendo's top selling franchises.
There's almost, so to kind of go to your point here, Jeff, right? So F-Zero, I loved that game for Super Nintendo. That game was phenomenal. It always plays Blue Falcon, and props to the Super Mario Brothers movie for having a Blue Falcon reference in Mario's room. He had a poster of Blue Falcon, of Captain Falcon hanging out there. And that's actually part of the reason why we wanted to kind of talk about something Super Mario, because as we were planning this out and everything, the Super Mario Brothers movie had just come out when we were getting ready to talk to this before we took our little break, and we wanted to talk about the Super Mario Brothers movie, but we have a panelist on this podcast who if we did the Super Mario Brothers movie without him, it would be a grave injustice to the world.
The old Super Mario Brothers movie, not the new one.
No, the bad. Oh,
Yeah. The really, really bad
really
one.
bad one with King Koopa not being a turtle or a dragon or whatever
Yes.
it is he technically identifies as these days.
I'm not judging.
Who would?
Nobody knows.
No. But so the Super Mario Brothers movie kind of inspired me to pick this so we could kind of talk something Super Mario's. But so you have F-Zero, and Mario Kart comes out as kind of this almost little throwaway. And how many F-Zero games have been out since? One? Maybe?
Yeah, and actually just recently, like in the past 2 weeks, the creator of F-Zero, someone asked him, like, why aren't you making a new F-Zero game? And he said, because everybody just wants to play Mario Kart.
Yeah. Exactly.
That's
Mario
amazing,
Kart ruined
actually.
F-Zero.
There was one F-Zero.
fantastic.
There was one F-Zero game that came out for GameCube.
Yeah.
And there hasn't been an F-Zero game that I know of since.
Wait,
No.
it came out for what?
The Nintendo GameCube.
The fuck is that? I never heard of that before.
Are you being serious or are you joking?
What the fuck's a GameCube? Was that Nintendo?
You
Yeah.
Xbox snobs.
That was
Well,
the
no.
system that came after the Nintendo 64.
Yeah, it was the
No,
first.
there was Nintendo 64 and then the Wii.
No,
No,
there was the
GameCube
GameCube.
was in between.
There's no such thing as GameCube.
It was on mini discs.
Mini
You guys are making this
discs.
shit up.
No,
It was probably my
real life. Everything was indigo, not purple.
Jones.
Indigo.
Not only does the GameCube exist, it is the system I have played the most in my entire life by far.
So wait, what was like the launch title for it? I've never fucking heard of this.
Luigi's Mansion.
Yeah,
Like, now you're
Luigi's
making
Mansion.
shit up. Now you're being assholes.
Metroid Prime.
No one listen.
Yeah.
A
Legend of Zelda, Wind
multi-billion-dollar
Waker.
company would not launch an entire fucking console, and its launch title is not a Mario game. They would never do that.
It's Mario's brother.
Yeah,
right.
in a mansion
kind
that's
of
on it.
Mansion.
Is.
Okay. Wait,
Goes.
was there ever a Mario game for it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Super Mario Sunshine, Super Mario Galaxies.
Oh
Super
man,
Mario Sunshine was that really awesome game where you go around and wash paint off of things.
Yeah,
you're telling me a multi-million-dollar, billion-dollar company known for its legacy titles and launch titles and the strength of its titles and its exclusive first-party titles,
a lot of titles.
would actually launch a brand new console after the massively successful Nintendo 64 with Luigi's Mansion and then follow it up with Mario Sunshine where he washed things?
Yes.
yeah.
I call bullshit. That never happened. I don't acknowledge it.
There was a Mario Kart game on the GameCube. We'll
was.
get to that.
Yeah.
There's a reason why I never played it.
I
Because you don't believe it
That
exists.
shit that's just
Well,
like Wyoming.
It's like
it never
fucking
fucking
Bigfoot.
happened.
It's fucking Bigfoot to you.
well,
It's not real unless you see it.
And here's some of the really cool shit about the GameCube, Jones.
There's nothing cool about the game.
It had all the mature titles because it was a disc game. It was a disc system. So
Did
they
Resident
were-
Evil 4 launched.
Resident
on the
Evil 4
GameCube.
launched on the GameCube. One that came after 3 and one that came before 5.
Yeah. That's how math works.
You had the two of my favorite games, which I can't believe they haven't gotten a re-release or gotten any, because there's an internet swell about the 2 Lord of the Rings games that were released at that time, the 2 Towers and the Return of the King. How have those games not gotten an upgrade and a re-release or anything? Because you had Shadow of Mordor and everything. They've put some games out that have been pretty fucking awesome, but I digress. A lot of mature titles for the GameCube. So, yeah, it's a quality system. I really enjoyed it.
I don't think anybody did.
I did.
Yeah.
I don't believe you.
I have a GameCube tramp stamp, actually.
He does. He
It's
does.
just the logo that never. It's infinite logo.
I'm actually of the thought that there are like, of all the people I've known who've owned this mysterious console, no one talks about it. You know why? Because it sucked.
I see, and I would
I'm
disagree.
spoiled by the Nintendo 64. maybe that's what it is.
I disagree because, the GameCube was the system that was at our first go around at Toys R Us. It was the GameCube,
Correct,
it was
yeah.
PlayStation 2, and it was Xbox. The PlayStation, so if you had 10 systems get returned to us because something wasn't working because of it, 7 were PlayStations, 2 were Xboxes, and then maybe 1 was a GameCube. It was a really well-built system. The games played, I thought, very well on it. You didn't really have any kind of loading issues or...
It was sort of weird. Like, the system design itself was very weird because it's a cube, but the disc is a mini disc,
Yeah.
which means there's a lot going on in there, but you don't really know. And for some reason, it has a handle on the back so that you can carry it like a lunchbox.
Yeah.
I don't know anyone who's ever carried a system like that or why you'd be carrying a system in the first place.
Yeah.
But there were some like weird design choices, but
Definitely was.
it was a pretty powerful system
Was.
for the time.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate.
It's okay. It's okay.
As far as I'm concerned, it never happened.
Jones, you should come over and we can play Mortal Kombat 4.
That would require you to have a console that can play it.
I do.
The GameCube.
You don't.
What?
Huh?
Huh?
I don't know.
No, I still my GameCube still works. You know, as you were saying, Jeff, you have the retro
My
setup
GameCube is down there.
Yeah, your retro setup's downstairs. We're making some adjustments to the household and moving some stuff around. So I'm hoping that I will be able to hook all the systems up into what was going to be now known as Dave's Arcade.
I like it.
Very
in
nice.
in the smaller room. So
Cool, man.
yeah, take Stephanie's. She has a piece of furniture that would work very well for being able to keep everything kind of set up, and I just have to get some adapters and some splitters. I still have a TV that I think is old enough that can still kind of connect everything to it. It's not necessarily like a box TV, but
So is all the coax.
still has all the
cables in
coaxial
back.
cables and everything in the back. So I think we can make
Yeah,
it
none
work.
of the TVs now. You have to buy all these adapters on
Yeah.
Amazon and shit.
Right. Or
to make
DK
those
Oldies.
work.
Gonna give them a little shout out.
Yeah.
Their videos on Facebook are fun.
So I'm assuming that we all played the original Mario Kart.
Yep.
We did.
Released on Super Nintendo in 1992. What a fun game that was.
From what I remember, yes. And it's funny, I went back because I definitely have not played every Mario Kart for sure in existence. So I've probably played 4 of them. Maybe, I'd say maybe 5 total. But Mario Kart 64 and the original Mario Kart are the ones I played the most. And I went back the other night and just like watched like a quick video on like the evolution just to see like the different graphical changes. And it was very enlightening.
It's changed a lot.
And and
Yeah.
I forgot, you know, the original release of Mario Kart, the OG release was very clean
It was.
for a Super
Yeah.
Nintendo game. Very
Pretty
good looking
impressive,
game
yeah.
actually. And I forgot about the little map like shows you where you are, and I'm like, oh man, that brings me the fuck on back. And it was nice. I enjoyed Mario Kart mostly because you could be competitive, but while being fun.
Yeah, and it's one of those games. Can you play it by yourself? Yes.
Sure.
Is it fun playing it by yourself? I mean, it can be. That's
ain't
what
that
you're into.
fun.
But it's much better when you have your siblings, your friends, your family members, and you're just shit talking each other the
Yes.
whole time. Like
Yeah.
that's what brings gamers together, really.
Yeah, and you know, there's you obviously in today's gaming day and age with online gaming and everything, there's a whole different level of shit talking that goes on because a lot of times it can be amongst complete strangers. But having the other person in the room that you could just kind of, you know, just smack if you felt like it, or just grab their controller just to mess with them so they kind of spun out or something. That's a lost art in today's day and age. It really is.
Yeah, now you just call people slurs.
Yeah.
That's what we do now.
It's nice that that's what the internet has become.
Yeah.
It's like, what does the internet allow us to do? Just be angry
Yeah.
for almost no apparent reason.
Bully
for,
everyone.
for things that are supposed to bring you joy.
Right. But yeah, I totally agree that, you know, being able to sit, I mean, and you know, it was just 2 children in the house I grew up in, so just me and my sister. And, you know, as well documented in episodes, the Super Nintendo was in her room, so if I wanted to play Mario Kart, I had to go in her fucking domain and sit down amongst the pink carpet and pink paint in her fucking room and
You're
deal
in
with
her
that.
world now,
I was in
her-
her fucking
man.
world. And so she and I'd play it, and we would shit talk and get frustrated with each other and get angry at each other. But that was the fucking best part, you know?
Yeah.
I do miss that. I don't do couch co-op anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's why I think the Nintendo 64 version of Mario Kart is the most important. I think the Super Nintendo version obviously sort of set the stage for what the platform was, but with 2 players. But once you were on the 64 platform with the enhanced graphics, although if you look at the graphics of the Nintendo 64 based compared to Mario Kart 8, they're like not even on the same level.
Right.
But at the time, to have a game like that with that type of quality with 4 players,
Yes.
like that's a game changer.
God bless Nintendo 64 for what
Yeah.
it gave to us.
Gave us everything.
Gave us GoldenEye, gave us Mario Kart 64. Just being able to have that experience with people.
Yeah.
Even if the screen was fucking tiny.
Yeah, and how about the foresight of Nintendo to be like, yeah, F-Zero is great, and we're selling a shit ton of copies of it, but think about the multiplayer experience, like what that could be. And I mentioned there's 14 Mario Kart games, so 6 on consoles, 3 on handheld, 4 arcade machines that you actually drive, and 1 that came out on iOS a few years ago, which is not great.
It was not great.
No, not
I
great.
actually played that one, Jones.
I didn't know that was a thing until I was doing research.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, that was just a few years ago. And I
Yeah.
didn't even know.
But on the console side, they've sold 165 million games, Mario Kart games,
Like across the entire
across
franchise
the
history.
across the 8 games that there are.
And on
It's pretty
average
cool,
of like
which is
$50
crazy.
a purchase.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And through my research, also, I was like, oh man, Mario Kart. I'm like, okay, what am I going to talk about? Well, I mean, this came out this year. Oh, that's a nice innovation. But it really is. If Mario Kart is nothing if it is not a very clear example of the art of iteration with innovation. But you do it, you measure it when you do it.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
so Mario Kart, mechanically, between 1992 and, 2017, because we don't count the mobile one, mechanically, it's all the same. It's the same game.
Yep.
Nothing's really changed.
Yeah, the
under
blueprint
hood.
is the same.
But they
Yeah.
they would just iterate and add extra things and innovate on the ideas of it. That's the one thing that Nintendo does. That I will shit talk Nintendo to the day I die for what they did to me. But I will always listen, man. They didn't grow up with me. They just kind of stayed 12 years old. Anyhow, I will.
They know.
Yeah, and they don't, because they're rich. They're fine.
They don't care.
They
Yeah.
really don't.
Unfortunately.
Because
No,
PlayStation doesn't have a theme park.
No, they don't need
No.
to. They have Horizon Zero Dawn, and Last of Us, and Spider-Man series.
But you can't go on an actual ride of any of those. But
Yeah,
you
you
can go on
can.
a Mario Kart
No,
ride.
you can
You
go on
can.
Last of Us Halloween experience coming up. That counts as something.
That would actually be kind of dope.
Yeah,
That
I think
sounds
that
pretty
would-
sick.
yeah.
I saw an advertisement that I think it's going to be this Halloween or something or
Yeah.
other.
But now there's Nintendo Land at
Of course there is.
Universal.
Yep.
And the Mario Kart ride is an actual Mario Kart ride.
Yeah.
But
Seems
like
pretty sick.
they add little things. They don't add major things, like just being able to like hit a ramp and pop a glider or something like that. Simple little things that add
Yeah.
to the experience.
Yeah.
Doesn't break the experience. It doesn't change it drastically, but it adds to it. And I think that's really a testament to the developers, the programmers, the people make these big decisions, and then they execute it. They do it flawlessly.
Yeah, and if you look at how things sort of evolved, they started, obviously the graphics were enhanced. They started adding, additional elements, additional power-ups, a different type of vehicle. So it started with just karts, and now it's karts and motorcycles and
Yeah.
all these other custom things. When they went handheld on the DS, they're like, let's make it a 2-screen experience. So that little heads-up display that's usually on the corner of your screen with the map and your power-ups, like that's on one screen, and then like the actual game's on the other screen. So they started tinkering with all that stuff, but they never changed it.
Nope.
And then, of course, once you get to the Switch, you're not even really necessarily having to use the control pad to steer. You're using the controller to steer.
Yeah, well, once the Wii U or the Wii version came out, Mario Kart Wii, that was the first one where it's like,
That's what I meant. Wii, yeah,
Take-
sorry, not Switch. Yeah, Wii.
take the Wii controller and plug it into a plastic steering wheel because you're actually steering now. And cool experience, but I still would rather just steer with
Oh yeah, hard as hell.
the D-pad.
Hard as hell. to
It's
do.
not easy because like you're trying to like overturn. And
Yeah.
I'm making like, you guys can't see me at home, but I'm making stupid fucking turning motions with my hands.
He is.
Like
He
I'm
just-
having an episode.
He
But
just spun out.
Somebody threw a banana at him.
It was-
He's
work out
fucking
It was
out.
really
Yeah, yeah.
aggressive for no reason.
And so in most of the iterations, like the Wii version, the Wii U version, and the Switch version, I have that disabled just because I would rather control it with the controls. But there was some contention amongst Mario Kart fans because after the release of Mario Kart 8 for the Wii U, which came out in 2014, if my notes are correct, they're like, okay, well, we're getting a new system in the Nintendo Switch, so we're going to get a new Mario Kart 9. Sounds exciting. And they're like, no, you're not. You're just getting Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, which is, the graphics were a bit of an upgrade just because of the power of the system. But they basically just ported from one game to the other. So if you really think about it, 2014 was the last new Mario Kart game that we got, because we got Mario Kart 8 Deluxe on the Switch in 2017, and then there were talks of Mario Kart 9 in it was 2018 or 2019, and then Nintendo's like, we can just do the next 10 iterations of Mario Kart as DLC.
Yep.
And that's what they've done ever since. There's a new wave of DLC coming out next week.
Yes, there is.
It's amazing.
Well, Nintendo. So with the Wii U, that system was a challenging system for them because they really couldn't get any third-party titles onto the console. The manufacturers.
It was just a weird system.
It was a weird system.
Yeah.
And so they realized they needed to kind of do something fast, and that's when the Switch came out. Because the Wii U did not have a long real run on its own, right?
No, it didn't seem like it.
And Nintendo at that point was, you've seen what happened to Sega, and they don't produce hardware anymore. Is Nintendo going to go in that direction? That they're just going to be software? They have all their IP, which is completely massive, and then you get out of the hardware business and maybe just produce the titles for PlayStation or for Xbox. So, they made the move to the Switch, which became hugely popular, and they really got involved in mobile gaming. So I think, when you're talking about, different versions of Mario Kart, and I always kind of laugh too, because, when you got games like Grand Theft Auto, and you've got games like Destiny and where they just keep adding DLC to it, instead of producing another game. I don't know how it works financially, the gains one versus the other. But if you produce Mario Kart 9, you're going to sell 25, 30 million copies of that at, $60 a pop now.
Or they can charge $10 per DLC pack, and they're on DLC pack number 12 or whatever. Yeah. And so it's like, without any more production costs aside from
that's the
developer,
only thing I can think of.
It's like, it's a smart business move.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah, they got with the times on that one.
Yeah.
In a world where many of us are like, let's cut the DLC out. Nintendo's like, no, let's put the DLC back in.
Yeah.
Put the D in.
Yeah. Oh,
Is it in there? Is it in there?
Is it? Are you sure? I can't. Oh, no. Okay.
Nintendo going balls deep with the D.
Nintendo's all about penis references. The 3DS, the Wii, the Wii U. Come on.
The Switch. Go backhand.
Oh.
Dave was just
What the fuck,
Dave was just giving his microphone a handy from the backside. Classic reach around
I went
action.
reverse.
Every so often I
reverse
have
action.
a person who listens to our show say, you guys should just record it, and I'm like, no, we fucking shouldn't. No one needs to see what's going on here.
I mean, sometimes they probably could.
Yeah.
We got a good spot here where the camera.
But you
can be
really
set
do.
up on
Yeah,
this
there's
one.
definitely space for it.
Yeah.
So I'm going through. So I had a roller coaster of emotions, in a way, when I was looking up all these different games and the evolution of this franchise. So I got to 2017. It was the arcade GPVR game, which I had no idea existed. I'm like, I have not fucking lived. I've never played Mario Kart in VR. That sounds fucking amazing. Yeah. That sounds like so much fun. All right, and I'm like, wow. And I'm like, I went and watched a separate video about it. That just looks
Not
like...
many places you could find that.
No.
I've never seen it.
I just assume it's in Japan.
Yeah.
I don't think it's here in the United States.
Like Dave and Buster's has the regular Mario Kart arcade.
Exactly.
But I've never seen the VR one in person.
It's not in
I don't know where it exists,
that's for damn
but
sure.
I would love to fucking try it.
It's in 4 people's basements.
Yes.
That's just it.
So I'm like, oh wow, I went down that rabbit hole for a moment, and I'm like, all right, let's finish this out. And then I realized, no. Now I know I've never fucking lived, because I had no earthly idea that there was the Mario Kart live home circuit.
Yeah.
I'd heard of it.
Came out a couple years ago.
I'd I thought I had an idea of what it was, but then to watch it, I went, these motherfuckers, the audacity of these motherfuckers to put this out. Like, how fucking cool is that, right? I don't know how, like, reasonable it is
It's
to
not
do it.
real practical. Like,
No.
I'm like, all right, this is pretty cool. But
It
like, you
is.
drive it around your house with this little remote control Mario Kart, and I'm like, I don't have room for that in the rooms that I game in.
No, you need, like, 90s, like, sitcom families' living rooms
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
do
Yeah.
that sort
Yeah.
of thing.
90s sitcom family living rooms.
Oddly
is
specific.
That is so oddly specific, and yet
But you
But
don't...
it fucking
but
works.
you fucking know exactly.
Yeah.
You know that, Mr. Winslow is walking down the stairs right now, and he
100%,
cannot
yes.
step because the fucking car is just driving around. And,
Because those living rooms and all those sitcoms
Yeah.
are fucking massive.
Yeah.
No one has living rooms like that unless you're rich.
you know
Yeah,
the only living room from a 90s sitcom that I felt was actually accurate?
Hold on. Give me a second. 90s, you said.
90s. Maybe late 80s, early 90s, I think, for the rollover on that.
Well, you said late 80s, so I was going to say maybe Family Ties. Because their living room was kind of, not cluttered, but it wasn't massive.
Right.
Hold on. Give me one more guess. Give me 30 seconds here.
Step by step.
No. That house had magic rooms.
That house, there was like 22 rooms.
Yeah.
90s. Was it like a family?
Yeah, family.
Maybe...
Fresh
No,
Prince.
Full House was massive.
Well, so I'm going to say Full House for the living room, because if you look in the background in the living room in Full House, it's all full of shit.
It is cluttered.
It is.
It is
That's
clu-
where
it's
all the
big,
clutter
but
was
it's
kind of
cluttered.
put.
It's real.
That's
Yeah.
where.
I'll
and
go
is
with
that
that.
where-
Real to
is that where
me.
like Joey lived? Like, wasn't that like his like
He lived
space?
in, he lived.
The
No, he
back
had like
corner.
he had like a room, but beyond.
He had a Harry Potter room. He
It was
always
under the-
slept
it's
under,
like
the
under the
stairs.
stairs,
Yeah.
Yeah, he was like.
Yeah.
He was that guy.
But then, as I'm thinking into it too, is like, but the Full House like family room had also like a second tier. It had some
There's like 3 fucking incomes going in that fucking house.
I love how they're like, we're gonna go ahead and take the attic of this house and turn it into a full fucking house.
Yes.
It's like, we don't have a place for Uncle Jesse and Aunt Becky and the
my
boys. So they
Meanwhile-
put like a bedroom, a living space, a child's room, and a bathroom in the fucking attic of a house.
Meanwhile, you see what the house looks like from the outside, and
Mm-hmm.
you know if you've ever been where those row houses are in San Francisco, there is zero living space in those tiny ass houses.
Nope.
That's the magic of TV, folks.
Yeah.
Okay, so what we need to do, I don't know how the fuck this hasn't popped up on either of us, any of us, all 4 of us. It's going on the Google Doc. It's going on the Drive. A sitcom tier list.
Oh,
Listen,
you have piqued my interest, good
listen.
sir.
We could talk about that shit for 5 fucking hours. There's so many shows
Yeah.
between, like, let's say we hard cut off 84 to 98.
Okay.
84, 98. Man, I could talk about Alf for an hour.
What if not only did we do it as a tier list, what if we did it as a bracket?
I don't do brackets, but I could try.
Because I thought about doing a bracket.
Battle to the death.
I thought about doing a bracket for like late 80s, early 90s theme songs for cartoons and TV shows.
It's hard to do a bracket because you have to have enough buy-in for votes. Like, the 4 of us will just argue for 2 hours.
That's the
Or as Noah say, we motherfuck each other.
Yes.
as you act like that's not the podcast already.
No, I mean, to move like one bracket and be like, motherfucker, this is going to be like an 8-part episode.
It could be a series.
Oh my god.
Because it's also like, it's all based on perspective. It's
Like,
it's not subjective
Like, what-
enough
what
to do a
I-
bracket.
X-Men the animated series, 2 seed.
Fuck.
You motherfucker.
I swear to Christ, man.
Yeah.
Whatever the fuck you believe in. All right. You're out of the will, Dave. You're out of the fucking will.
That's it. You're out.
But that would be a lot of fucking fun just to sit and just like there are shows because we all are around the same age, but what we enjoyed as kids and growing up may be very similar, but there might be some like My Two Dads. Fucking hated that show as a kid. My sister loved that shit, but she was older. But I remember it. Now you, Dave, might go, man, My Two Dads was fucking amazing. I love that show. Or we could talk about Night Court counts. That's a sitcom. We can talk about Night Court. There's all sorts of great shows.
What about Night Court is back?
I just found
It's
out.
weird.
Yeah, I just found out. And I'm like, I'm not watching that shit.
I watched like 3 minutes of an episode because like my DVR, like it started early,
Yeah.
or my DVR
It has
recorded late.
the blonde
Melissa
from,
Rauch from Big Bang Theory.
yeah,
yeah,
is the new judge.
She's Harry's daughter.
Yeah.
yeah.
So why do they have to do that shit?
I don't know.
Why?
I'm okay with it
It
because
doesn't have to be that type of connective tissue. It's unnecessary.
it is. But I think in today's day and age, everything has to have a connective tissue because apparently that's what our generation pays for.
Like real talk. If they came, oh, it's Night Court, cool, all right. Oh, that's his daughter, but fucking
John
why?
Larroquette's still in it.
John Larroquette is in it.
Well, what the fuck else is he doing?
And the woman and
The guy who played
Where's
Harry
Richard Mole? Is
yeah.
he alive? Is Richard Mole alive? The fact that I remember his fucking name.
we all remember his name.
Bull.
He was awesome.
Right?
Yeah,
It was Bull.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was Bull.
I don't know
Yep.
if he's still alive.
The one of the women who was I think the bailiff on one of the bailiffs on the show too. She's still on it. I can't remember what her name is, but I recognized her when I saw the
Dun,
part of
dun,
it.
dun.
Yep.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
I remember that fucking show.
Mama's Family.
Look, Mama's Family beats everything.
It does.
I will listen. Iola Boylan must be protected at all fucking costs. I will go to war for Iola.
Listen, when I was at Steel City Con to meet the Hobbits, she was there. And I spent all of my money on my Hobbit experience, right? You can basically imply whatever you want into that sentence. It's all true. Yeah, one ring to rule them all.
You know, Dave, you're in rare form today, man.
I brought my own ring to that experience.
I
just
don't
for the
know what that
record.
ring was for, but we're not going to find out.
Elijah Wood blessed it. That's all that matters.
Oh, all right.
Are you
But-
going back to see Andy Serkis? He's going to be at the next one.
Oh, fuck. I feel like at this point now I have to collect them all.
And HBK's going to be there.
I did see that. I didn't know Andy Serkis was going to be there. But actually, Andy Serkis is a really big deal.
So,
But regardless, I saw Vicki Lawrence from afar. And,
I thought you meant Iola Boylan was there.
No. Mama was there.
Oh, okay.
She was dressed as Mama.
Oh, God
And I
damn.
wasn't gonna do the thing where I was gonna like try to snap a picture because they're there to get money for that stuff and
Yeah.
that's part of their purpose of being and everything. But like I was in awe of her. Just
She
seeing
doesn't
her
look
there.
like she aged.
No,
it's
she
wild.
She looks
doesn't.
fantastic
yeah,
for her
yeah,
age.
it's wild.
Yeah.
And I think that's only because when the show was on, she was like 15. That's why she looks so
Yeah,
young.
maybe.
No, fuck, man. Look, we could fuck Marco. We could just talk about a Mama's Family for the rest of the fucking episode.
Mario's Kart / Mama's Family.
Yeah, imagine that fucking
Just when
artwork.
you see that pop
It's just Mama driving a fucking Mario Kart.
Dude, I, honest to God, can watch Mama's Family any day, anytime. It does not fucking matter
Yeah.
what I'm doing. It's the dark night of TV shows for me.
Yeah, I love
I
Mama's
will
Family.
I will stop what the fuck I'm doing. I know every episode. I know the OG first season.
Yep.
Like back when it was Buzz and fucking Sonia. No one ever fucking
Buzz.
talks about them. Oh, I dropped Buzz and fucking Sonia on
You
your
really
ass, Jeff.
did. You really should.
You were like,
stick-
oh fuck, you forgot all about Buzz and
I was
Sonia.
not expecting that.
Buzz and they were on one fucking season. They fucking they went to live with their mom in Reno, Nevada, and Benton became a fucking idiot because he was an idiot in the first season. He was actually a normal fucking person.
Yeah.
He wasn't a schmuck.
No.
And they made him a doting idiot in the second season and all the seasons forward. Naomi was not also. She was not a fucking airhead in the first season. She was pretty fucking normal, right? Remember that shit? And every season after that, with Vince, she was a fucking airhead. They changed so many characters around, because the show got canceled, I think. And then I want to say they switched networks, right? Is that what it was?
I think so.
Yeah, I think so.
But like and then Bubba came out, and then because Iola wasn't in the first season either.
Nope.
It was Mama. It was Betty White. It was Rue McClellan. Was it Rue?
Are you just starting to drop Golden Girls on us here?
No. Did you guys watch the first season when you were kids?
I'm trying to
I
remember.
don't. Apparently, I don't remember it.
All right. So
yeah.
here's,
As
much as
here's
you
here. Look. All right.
So are you telling me
I-
Golden Girls is an offshoot of Mama's Family?
No. Here's how this works. Mama's Family was a skit, right?
Yeah.
You know that,
Yeah.
right? So Thelma Harper and her daughter. Betty White played her daughter.
Okay.
And I feel bad I don't remember her fucking name anymore, the character she played. But then Blanche, Rue McClellan, right? Is it Rue McClellan? It's Rue, for sure. That's her first name. She played Mama's sister in the first season. Yeah, this is real shit. Vinton was in the show. There was no Iola, and there was Buzz and Sonia. They all lived, Vinton, Buzz, and Sonia lived with Thelma. Okay? Vinton moved in with Thelma because his wife, and it was always the joke that Thelma would say, Like, your wife left you to go be a showgirl in Reno or Vegas, and at her age and with those legs, it was always the fucking thing she would say. You'd hear her saying it.
Why don't we hear that these days anymore? Why don't we hear more people saying her age and those legs could do anything?
And Vinton worked with Quick Keys. Naomi was a next door neighbor.
Quick Keys.
Yeah, I fucking loved the show growing up. This was my fucking shit, obviously.
I never would have pegged you for that.
Fuck, the show's so
We're
good.
learning a lot about Jones
I know,
today.
but it's like, it's such an odd thing. Like, I don't think anyone in our generation is like that fucking show is my jam.
You actually
Well,
might be surprised.
I would disagree. I think a lot of people, when you
Lots
really
of
talk, if
people.
you bring up Mama's Family in conversation,
Motherfuckers' eyes will light
I don't know
up.
anybody who's going to be like, fuck that show.
But do you think that they discovered it later, or did they follow it from like?
For me, it was like
From the
8
the
years
old
old,
days.
9
Yeah,
years old, because
same.
it was on syndication.
It was on Fox.
It was on Fox, right? And everybody watched Fox at our age.
Yep, it was
because they indoctrinated you with cartoons, and you just stayed for
It was
whatever
a
came later
family
on.
night. It was a family show.
Yep.
Me and my whole family would sit and watch that show. But so fucking Mama's Family. So the first season was all that, and I want to say the first season happened. I guess it got canceled, whatever, and then it got picked up on a different network, which I guess was Fox.
Yep.
And then it started out with Buzz and Sonia had moved back with their mom. You never see them again. They're just gone. I think they're mentioned a little bit. That first episode is the episode where they're coming back from call her Blanche because I don't remember the character's name. A mama's sister's funeral. She choked on a fish bone at a bar
Like you do.
and died.
It happens.
Because mama
Fucking fillet
she's
fish.
coming out of the bathroom and mama went boo at her and she inhaled the fucking chicken bone and died, which is funny in itself. Bubba,
We need to find fucking Mama's Family trivia night somewhere. and just take Jones.
Someone's got to have it.
and Bubba
Gonna
broke
realize we're
into
bringing
the-
a ringer.
He breaks into the house. Eunice. Okay.
Eunice, that's right.
Eunice was Bubba's mom.
Yes,
Eunice
that's
was
right.
also in the first season.
Yeah.
So Eunice, Mama's sister, Mama's other daughter, maybe Helen. I can't remember. It was Helen, maybe. Those were the three main characters with Vinton and Buzz and Sonia. But Eunice is not the second season going forward. She was only in the first one. And Bubba, her son, comes in. Buzz and Sonia are gone. Iola, the next door neighbor, comes in. Naomi becomes the live-in girlfriend of Vinton. Yeah. That's first season.
Damn.
Shit.
I know that show. I know every episode of
Clearly.
that show.
I'm yes.
I remember the last episode.
What do you think's more surprising for our listeners in this episode? Me talking about having a thumb up my ass, or Jones talking about his love of season 1 of Mama's Family?
No, I didn't love that season. It was awful. Every season going for it was great. It was weird. The first season was weird. It wasn't as funny.
You're like a Mama's Family savant.
I just watched a lot of it. I actively watched, and I would watch reruns because it was always on, like at 9:30 at night, 9 o'clock at night on Fox. It was on almost every single. It was because remember for years it was like an hour of it.
It was. Yeah, there was
So,
2 blocks. There was there were 2
10 to 10:30 or 9
Yeah.
to 9:30 or whatever it was.
It was 10. I think it was 10 and 10:30 because I used to always watch it before I go to bed.
Yeah,
That's how I got into watching it.
and
Yeah.
it's just one of those things that like you watch it enough, you just see. There's only so many seasons. You get to see every fucking episode
true.
after a while.
It's like people today are not like that way with The Office or Parks and Rec. You know.
Yeah.
But anyhow, I digress. I
So who-
fucking love Mama's Family.
So who's your favorite Mama's Family character while playing Mario Kart?
If I could play Isla Boylan, I would.
What would her weapon be? What would she throw?
Knitting
at you?
needles.
Shit.
Well,
There'd be
you
blood,
don't
which
get
is-
to pick your weapon. It's at random.
No, but in the first Mario Kart, Yoshi dropped an egg. Donkey Kong.
Yeah, it
would
was
do.
it was carrier.
Yeah, that was character. That was kind of going more along
Yeah,
those
yeah,
lines. Yeah,
okay.
but no, not in today's where it's
Or
just
or
randomly
pearls.
assigned.
She'd
Yeah.
throw pearls and
I
fuck up
could-
your tires.
and then
Not
you-
knitting needles.
You would throw the pearl necklace,
Yes.
and then you would drive over it, and you would spin out.
That's where I'm at. That's
Yeah.
where I'm at.
That's good. That's good.
You guys like that, right? You know, you're listening to this fucking hot content you're getting here.
Listen,
This is not where I thought this episode was going to go,
this
but
is
I'm fucking here for
this
it.
is what happens when you don't have an outline. You just roll with it.
For all of you who are listening to this fucking show, I would love for you to reach out on Facebook, all 6 of you, and tell me that you liked Mama's Family, or say you didn't, or you've never fucking heard of it. And if you say you've never fucking heard of it, you're a goddamn liar. You know you heard of it, and you've watched it before. You may not have liked it, but you've certainly watched it before.
If they released a Mama's Family game on the GameCube, would you admit its existence?
Man, I would, but too bad that never fucking happened. So I can't.
I'm not sure in what context the actual game would be about.
I don't know what it would be.
But
An ARPG. Mom just
Video
wandering
game
around.
tie-ins.
If Mama's Family was on...
You can't even say it.
I can't. I thought I was so ready for it too, and then it just broke me. If Mama's Family was on the Sega Channel, would you fuck it?
No, because I'm not into the elderly.
Kink
Sorry.
locked.
He's like, that's all the questions I had for today.
As he
There
closes
we
his
go.
notebook.
I'm just gonna shut that one down. Check that box.
I'm
shit.
not into gilfs.
I mean,
You okay? It's okay if you are. Nothing wrong with that.
Helen Mirren. I think we'd all agree.
Well, she transcends that shit.
Total babe.
Is she a grandmother?
She
I
has to
assume
be.
so.
Why? Just because she's old?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
fuck.
I mean,
Not every old person has kids.
she's Vin Diesel's grandmother in Fast and Furious, or is it mother? I know it's all about family.
That's a safe answer.
It's a safe answer.
Playing it safe in an episode where you're not playing it safe at all. Anyhow, Mario Kart.
Yes.
Um,
So I think we'll start to wrap
fuck
this
we're
up.
talking about.
Yeah. I don't even know at this point.
When you guys played Mario Kart,
Oh, yeah, go on. I got an idea, but go on.
did you have a favorite character?
Yes, that was my next question.
So, go ahead, Jeff.
Well,
What
first
was your favorite character?
First, I was gonna say, like, obviously, it was all about the multiplayer experience.
Yeah.
It's interesting because there's a lot of racing games that are very specific to a genre and a gaming audience. So, Need for Speed, for example. Mm-hmm. Kids,
That was your fast.
teenagers, adults, people our age, like young adults and people our age. Not all. Need for Speed, for example, is not geared towards all those audiences.
No.
That they're targeting young adults.
Need
Little
for
kids aren't going to pick up and play Need for Speed because it's too complex and too involved. Mario Kart is designed to transcend generations.
Yep.
And it's interesting because, you know, I love playing Mario Kart with my kids, and I love playing Mario Kart with my friends, and I talk the same amount of shit to both. And maybe that's why my kids are the way they are.
Yeah,
That's
maybe.
why,
I don't
I
know.
feel like that's why your kids are well-rounded and prepared for the world.
That's why
Yeah.
your kid
But-
was like
but-
3 years old, told me to go fuck themselves.
But it's interesting
Yeah.
because, like, Melissa's mom, for example, she is fucking really good at Mario Kart. Like, because when Melissa and her brother were kids, like, they would just play Mario Kart all the time
Yeah.
on Nintendo 64. And so I remember when I was in college, me and Melissa and one of our other friends had gone to Melissa's parents out in Eastern PA, and we were all playing Mario Kart. And the one kid, he was just like, before we started playing, he was just like talking shit about how good he was and how he was going to school everybody. He got his fucking ass handed to him by Melissa's mom.
Nice.
And he started just losing his shit. He was so mad. He was like throwing the controller down.
Oh, shit.
And he's like, I think this controller's all jacked up. He's like, there's no way like that this old lady is going to beat me. And she's like, okay, here's my controller. Give me
Oh,
that
that's
one.
the best.
Give me
Yo,
that one.
Yo,
So they switched,
Oh,
and he lost
boy.
even worse.
Listen, there are few fucking things
Jones took his
that you
glasses off,
can
everybody.
do when you were young and gaming in like a couch setting.
Nah.
As somebody saying some shit, you go, here, take my controller then.
Yeah.
And you still beat their ass.
Yeah.
Or you get your ass
Oh,
beat.
it was fucking
and
glorious.
you're just like fucking fuming because now you called it out and you just got schooled even
Yeah,
harder.
now
And
it's
you're like,
even
you got
worse.
shit to say
now.
now.
It's even worse.
Yeah.
You just shut your mouth.
Oh my god.
Shut your
Oh.
goddamn mouth.
I remember we've all done that. So like, here, take my controller.
That's-
I'll take that. I'll
Yeah.
take the broken one. Give me.
That's
There's
what
nothing more humbling than being
Humbling
in
is
that
the
moment.
best word.
that's what this generation needs more of, being
Yeah.
humbled.
Yeah.
Yes.
In
oh
video
my God.
game
I forgot all
settings.
about that
Yeah.
fucking moment.
Yeah.
Because you always had one controller that might be a little iffier than the other one.
Yeah.
And you always used the better one, obviously.
It had a rattle.
It
you
had,
know.
and whoever was getting
Yeah.
their ass beaten, like, well,
On the 64, the joystick in the middle was a little loose.
it had a little
Yeah.
drift to
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, take mine then. Fuck, man.
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah. But it's one of
Good
those
for her.
things. It's like it's one of those games that it transcends generations. Like
It's-
it's playable for everyone, and it's not like, I mean, you could look at it and say, well, it's Mario Kart. It's kind of cartoony. It's not like playing fucking the graphics in Diablo 4. You're like, yeah, but it's part of the experience.
Yeah.
But everybody has a favorite character, a favorite level, a favorite power up.
It's timeless.
Yeah.
It's a timeless game, as well. You can go back, and I did this in prep for this. I went ahead and played. I got the Super Nintendo Classic when it came out. Mario Kart's on there, so I went back and played it. I played a little bit of Mario Kart 64, and then I played Mario Kart 8. You know, kind of going into prepping for this, and just they're all just fun. And you know what's great about Mario Kart 2 is that it wasn't just one way to play, right? They had other ways you could play because they also had the battle mode, which we haven't really talked about. And that's probably what I remember most from Mario Kart 64 is when you had the 4 players and going into battle mode where you had, you know, 3 shells around you, or you had 3 balloons, you know, as a kind of in some of the more modern versions of the game.
Here's my hot take.
Yeah.
There's battle mode. Battle mode is fucking dumb. Like, everybody just wants to race. That's what Mario Kart's for.
We played battle mode all the fucking time.
Just popping balloons.
In, like,
That's stupid.
In like the 2000s, it would be, you would GoldenEye for a while, and then we'd fucking Mario Kart, and it wouldn't we wouldn't really race. We would just fight each other and talk massive amounts of shit. I remember being in Ocean City, and we brought, this was like when we were 20, 21 years old, we brought the Nintendo 64, and we brought 2 fucking games. Only 2. GoldenEye and Mario Kart.
Only 2
and
games.
and in between just getting shit-faced drunk and going to the beach, that's all we did was just try to kill each other digitally and just talk.
Says a lot about your friendships back then.
You know what? It was great.
Some aggression in there.
Yeah,
It was
except he
great.
didn't play wrestling games, so no mercy.
No, I did play.
Would have been in that pile.
I played. My guys that I was friends with around that point in time weren't really into wrestling at that point. You know, minus, I'd say, maybe Jason, but, you know, I don't think we really ever played any of the games. And that was right around the time I was getting to meet you guys. So, but I had, for the N64, I had 2 WWF games. So I had Attitude and, I'm trying to think which the other one I had.
Woohoo! Attitude. Jesus Christ.
Well,
I remember Attitude.
Fucking had Stone Cold on the
That
cover.
was not a
so
great game.
You gotta go.
Sold.
Ooh, that was
You
no
know.
bueno.
But yeah, you had different ways to play the game too, and I love the racing mode too, right? It started out with 5, didn't it? Like for the original Mario Kart, it was 5 races per circuit, and then they kind of dropped it down to 3. It's 3 now.
It's been 3 for a long time.
Yeah, but now we're at more circuits. But do you guys have a favorite? What was your favorite character playing?
I mean, I don't know if I had a favorite necessarily, but if you put a gun to my head, it was probably Yoshi.
I think everybody wanted to be Yoshi, but like if you wanted to win, you had to be Toad. That
I think
motherfucker.
I think most people who want to win are targeting like the smaller, faster characters.
Yeah.
So Yoshi and Toad, obviously in the early versions. In the newer versions, if you're like Diddy Kong or like Baby Mario or Baby Peach.
Those were the ones I always thought were weird to be in the game.
It
Babies
is.
don't fucking drive.
Yeah, if you
Immersion's broken.
Babies don't fucking drive.
Yeah, and how it evolved. I mean,
They can't reach-
because in the first,
They can't reach the fucking
They gotta
pedals.
sit on telephone
yeah,
books.
the first few Mario games, it was just like, you know, the core lineup of Mario characters, and then it's like Donkey Kong, Diddy Kong, and now Link from The Legend of Zelda, and characters from Animal Crossing, and characters from
Splatoon.
Yeah, Splatoon. If you created Mii's on the Wii or the Wii U
Yeah, I
or the
remember that.
Switch, like you can load your Mii in so you can actually drive the car. Like it's pretty wild.
I don't
like,
want to.
how
I
much
don't want
has
to compete
changed.
against Mario.
And now in all the DLC, there's all these new characters which are like, you know, these very low tier like side characters from all the Mario games. So like Petey Piranha and Bowser Jr. and
Because people
King
give a shit
Boo.
about, but they'll
Yeah.
pay for it.
Yeah.
a little wizard guy with a thing.
Well, what's your favorite level? Your favorite track? Mine was Rainbow Road, without question.
Rainbow Road is the most unforgiving level I've played in any video game ever.
It's so fucking punishing.
It's
Yeah.
fucking brutal.
But it's beautiful.
But it's so fun. And what's cool about like the newer version, so in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, is it's all the new levels that they created for Mario Kart 8. But then with each DLC, they've started adding in remastered versions of all the levels from all the previous games. So like if you go into like the later circuits, it'll be like, hey, here's a level that was on the Game Boy Advance version, and here's one from Nintendo 64. And I think there's like 6 different versions of Rainbow Road, and they are all fucking brutal.
Yeah.
But that OG Rainbow Road level, like, It's so fucking cool.
Well, and how fucking cool is it that in the Super Mario Brothers movie that's what they basically did?
Yeah.
They got on Rainbow Road in Mario Karts. You know, did you see the movie, Jones?
No.
It's really fucking good.
I mean, I may get around to it at some point in life.
Now, granted,
It's on Amazon Prime now.
Is it now?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
For streaming or just for purchase?
I think for streaming.
Okay. But I know, granted, you know, Nintendo wasn't always like your system past a certain point in life. But like as somebody who played Nintendo, especially in our age, you know, as kids, the nostalgia in that thing is awesome. And it was really cool how they incorporated
that movie
scene.
One, it's done really fucking well. Like the animation is flawless.
Yeah.
But two, it's 100% Nintendo fanboy fan service.
Oh, it is.
Like from start to finish.
It is.
They're just like, there's so many Easter eggs and all the shit they're feeding you that just like, it just hits you right in this nostalgic feels.
Yeah.
I'm like, God damn, Nintendo. Well played. Well played.
They had one more in them.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. What about power-ups? What were your go-to? I mean, obviously it's randomized based on the blocks, but what was your favorite power-up?
I'm gonna go I think off the cuff a little bit here, maybe a little off the rails. I was a big fan of the green shells.
Oh, that's a tricky one because you can fuck yourself up with the green shell.
You can fuck yourself up with the green shell, but see, like
it's all timing.
It's timing, but you also had the ability to aim the shell as the game kind of evolved. And I got pretty good at aiming the shell, you know, because the red shell automatically hits, right? But like you got to be a fucking sniper to take somebody out with the green shell, and I became a fucking sniper with that stuff. And you could also launch it behind you too, you know, depending on how you wanted to kind of fuck somebody's day up. And you got 3 of them, you know. So
if you're lucky,
having those things, just, you know, if you're just really pissed and you're in 7th place, you could just go ahead and just launch those things multi-fire and just fuck someone's weekend up.
I was always an OG red shell guy, and usually I'd hit the 3 and let them spin around me and not actually shoot them, just like use it as a shield.
Yeah,
basically.
it's a good call. It's always a good call to do that.
And it's interesting because like the way they sort of evolve the power ups through the games, like first it was just 1, and then every once in a while you can get 2 at the same time, and then basically based on what place you're in, it randomizes some things versus others. Like if you're in first place, you're never going to get a blue shell. You're never going to
get a banana.
You're never
get coins.
Yeah, coins is the most fucking annoying thing.
Yeah.
I wish they never put coins into Mario Kart. It's stupid. And I mean, I know you have to collect the coins to buy more power-ups and all that other stuff in terms of customization for your vehicles. But like if you're in 7th place, you have a higher likelihood of getting the bullet bill, for example, which is a great fucking power-up. But I was always the red shell guy. Like that was always my go-to. Nothing pisses me off more than getting struck by lightning and losing all my shells.
The lightning was the worst. Getting struck by lightning and shrinking, and then
getting run over by someone right behind you. Like
that was never
run over. Yeah,
I was a banana peel guy. Just keep it classy.
It's classy.
You know?
It's pretty classy.
Yeah.
You know, just get straight to the meat and potatoes of the situation. There you go.
How many times did you throw a banana peel in front of you and then hit your own banana peel?
It may or may not have happened once or twice.
It happened to everyone.
It may not have been like initially.
If you say it didn't, you're a goddamn liar.
Oh yeah,
goddamn liar. Yeah, if it was never usually for me like I would run into it after I threw it. It would always be I would run into it my next lap around.
I mean, you're like, no, that's it was
like that was I really placed that well. Because again, the banana peel you could drop behind you as well instead of throwing it in front. But yeah, I'd drop it behind me and like right by power up. Like I'm gonna get the power up. Oh fuck, banana, you know, and just hit it all over again.
So I think suffice to say that Mario Kart is easily one of the most influential titles of all time. Franchises of all time, multiple knockoffs, more than we could probably count that we even know about. But the most important part is, you know, it's Nintendo through and through. You know, like I said earlier, iteration with innovation, and I feel very confident. 40 years from now, people will still be playing some variation of Mario Kart, and they'll probably still play the exact same way.
Yep.
Only difference is it'll be implanted in your brain. You'll actually just be controlling it with your mind.
I was thinking it was gonna be a virtual reality world where you're actually in the cart.
I'd play that.
Yeah.
That's why I want to play this fucking arcade GP VR business, man. Where the fuck?
Yeah.
Well, because I mean, Mario Kart's on the Mount Rushmore of Nintendo, isn't it? I mean, Super Mario, Zelda,
Well,
Metroid, and
Nintendo has done a fantastic job of like, okay, we have all these basically blockbuster-ish franchises, Mario, Zelda, Metroid. Like, how do we work them into other games? Like, okay, Mario Kart. Okay, Smash Brothers. You want a fighting game? Let's put all of our characters
Smash
in there.
Brothers.
You want a Mario racing game? Let's put all of our characters in there. And I mean, it's really fucking smart because, I mean, technically you could say Mario Kart is part of the Mario franchise, but it's actually not.
Mm-hmm.
They have them separate, and both of them are like the amount of money that they've made off of just those two things alone. And then you talk about Metroid and Zelda on top of it. Like,
where would Nintendo be if they never produced Mario? Like, would there be Nintendo today? Or would there be Nintendo, but it would look very much like current console generations now?
I think it would. I think there's two things. One, I think if they did not have Mario, Nintendo would just be another Sony or Microsoft.
That's what I mean. Yeah, I feel like they would
Because-
be. They would have to have.
Nintendo and Sega went down the same route, where it's like, we're going to put our flag in the ground of this is our flagship character with Mario and Sonic. Obviously, we know how things worked out with Sega.
and now they compete against each other at the Olympic Games.
It's true. Summer
true.
and winter.
It's true.
Yeah, you can buy both of those.
It's damn true.
But it's interesting because if they didn't put so much focus on a character that's designed like that, like you're never going to see like a Diablo 4 looking version of Mario. Like Mario,
No, I'd buy that.
Mario is always going to look like Mario, which is why everyone's like, well, Nintendo makes fucking kid
I'd
games.
fucking buy a Nintendo console for that.
Yeah. Like they obviously Link and the Legend of Zelda evolved. But Mario never did. Mario stayed Mario through and through. And I think there's pros and cons to that. They're still in business and they're still making a shit ton of money.
Yeah.
So there's definitely the pros for them outweigh the cons. As a player, as a gamer, we want more. I mean, that's why you stop playing Nintendo.
Yeah.
Because you want more. And Nintendo's like, the formula fucking works. We're sticking with
You
it.
can't break what doesn't need to be fixed.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, plus
So-
the money's all theirs. You know, when you produce a
Facts,
Mario
yeah.
game, the money's not going anywhere else. When you
Same.
produce Mario Kart, you do Zelda. You have those titles that are inherently yours. That's just the money's yours.
I mean, that's always the
So-
battle. First party title work is the most important thing for a console generation. You know, it's why, like, The Last of Us is such a big deal. Or, you know, like, it's not a first party title, but it's a first party title. It is.
Yeah.
It is
It's exclusive,
it
yeah.
is their.
It's-
it is their crown jewel. It ain't going anywhere else.
It's God of War.
Yeah.
You know, it's
Halo.
Halo, Gears of War. You know, it's those types of things. And Nintendo has the lion's share of that IP. And to your point, which you just asked earlier, like if that original Mario game is an absolute beacon of perfection, slam dunk of a video game. You know, such a seminal moment in gaming is that first level 1-1 in Super Mario Brothers. Dun, dun, dun,
It's
dun,
iconic. Everybody knows it.
Everybody knows it. And from the gameplay to the soundtrack to the visuals to the characters to everything, it all works perfectly. And it's such a random collection of things, if you really think about it, to come together to make that work. If Nintendo doesn't have that, Nintendo is done probably by the Switch or right after. Wii U, without the characters, Nintendo's done. They're out of business.
Wii U would have been dead in the water.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for first party titles.
Because that's all it had.
Yeah.
Plus a couple of random ones that they were able to kind of sneak in there.
Because
But-
at that point, the gimmick of motion controls was past.
Yeah.
Like fans didn't give a shit about that.
Well, plus the manufacturers had to develop the game two different ways. And the manufacturers said, fuck this. We're not doing this anymore. So Nintendo, you can either get on board and we'll produce the same way, because then you're basically doubling your production costs and making games available for Nintendo. Right. And they were just like, no. So we'll put it out for Xbox and PlayStation, and Nintendo's sitting there like, well, we have Yoshi's Island and Yoshi's Woolly World, and people are still buying them, but where else is it going?
Right.
So, and to your point, Jones, about Nintendo, right? If they did have an eye, because I think you and I have had these conversations before. I'm pretty sure I had it with you too, Jeff. Like if they did a fucking like Castlevania game that was, you know, set up like a Vampire Hunter, kind of in more of a modern day.
Yeah.
Not necessarily the stylized steampunk kind of thing, but maybe like a more modern day, like almost like a Blade type of game.
Okay.
Or if you did a
Hopefully better than Redfall.
hopefully.
I already uninstalled that, by the way.
Yeah, fuck that game.
It's unfortunate.
But if you did a Zelda that looked like fucking God of War, or if you did or if you did a Metroid that looked like Dead Space, like you would have the audience for that because we've all grown up
The
with
audience
it.
is already built
The
in.
audience is built in because you
Yeah.
get them as kids, and you could keep them. But that's
you
not their
can-
model.
That
you
is
can
not
keep
what
them.
they're all about,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
Right.
They do it works, and there's enough people who buy these titles who have been, and I say it, but it's not. I don't mean that in a negative way. They've been indoctrinated. Like they're just.
It's just
there's-
it's in your DNA.
There's
at
like
that
a point.
Yeah.
It's the McDonald's of video games.
Yeah, like there's a point in gaming, and this is any game, any franchise, and Nintendo is actually probably the biggest offender of it because they're not just it. You think of you may think of Xbox or Microsoft and think of Halo. Sure, okay. You might think of Sony and PlayStation, and think of God of War. Okay, sure, but Nintendo, like you said, the lion's share. When you think of Nintendo, you don't even think of the console.
You're just thinking of the
You just
characters.
think
Just
of
think of
Mario, you think of
characters.
Zelda, you think of Metroid, you think of Castlevania, and
Star Fox
You think of
and-
all these titles that are synonymous specifically with this brand, and what if they could just produce games that move the needle towards more photorealistic graphics?
Yeah.
even a
Put
little
fucking
bit
Smash
more.
Brothers in Unreal Engine 4 and see what happens.
Jesus Christ.
The money that they'd make, but what else? I got myself
my boner hitting
backtracked
the
a little
table.
bit. The issue is a whole two generations of gamers have been indoctrinated into the concept of Nintendo. And I don't mean that in a negative way, it's just the way it works. You get to a point where you've put so much money, so much time, so much of your energy and your passion into a brand, you don't back out. You can't back out now.
They're
You have
playing-
you
if
got
you play-
posters, you have fucking those little weird big-headed dolls, you have all those things that it's you now. It's a part of your DNA now. You're not backing out of that now. So Nintendo could, and they do, some strange consumer practices. We can't pretend, but every company does it. But Nintendo gets a bigger pass because it's Nintendo, and they're allowed to because you've now put so much of your life.
Yeah. If
Into
you
it.
started with the NES, you've been doing it for 35 years.
Yeah, and that's you're not backing
Well,
out.
Another example of that would be McDonald's, right? Happy Meals. Get a toy, right? There's mascots and characters, and you know your main thing is a clown. Kids
There have
love
been
clowns.
several wave of Mario
fucking
Kart
hate
toys
clowns.
Yeah.
in Happy Meals.
They have. So you know, is McDonald's the best fast food out there in today's day and age? Absolutely not.
Great fries though.
But
As long as they're hot.
McDonald's fries right out of the fryer.
There are no fast food fries that can come close.
There might not be anything in the existence of food that comes close to McDonald's fries right out of the fryer.
It's
Yeah.
great when
It's
you
a
get them. You're like,
magical thing,
"Ooh."
yes.
Like when she gives you the bag or he gives you the bag at the window and they go, be careful, the fries just came out of the fryer. You're just like
It's just something else entirely.
you're racing home like you cannot you're pulling off to the side of the road like you're about to get a Hummer from your lady who just can't wait to get you. Right, you're just gonna pull over and like a fucking heathen, like Noah's looking at me in the parking lot. And you're gonna start
No, I
chowing
just
down on
one
those
hand
fries.
drive and you just fucking go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
And
I
then
get
you're
the worst is then you realize you got home
realize-
and you've eaten too many.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And you have 6 left to enjoy.
yeah.
Yeah. Or
yeah.
you pull it straight out of the bag, put it straight in your mouth, and you realize how hot it is.
They
in
warned
that-
your ass.
in that moment, and then you can't turn back.
Yeah.
It's already
It's like
You're already
Nintendo.
in it.
You've committed.
You're committed, and
Yeah.
that's it.
Well, this episode's gone in several different directions.
it really has.
This
But it's good to get back to it.
it is good to get back to it, absolutely, and we really thank you, dear sweet succulent listeners, for joining us here today on Nothing Good Mario Kart / Mama's Family,
Yeah. The hot fry episode.
the hot fry episode.
What do we got going on next week, guys? something
Speaking of hotness,
something special. I don't know if we should give away all of our secrets, but we're doing something for the first time next week, which apparently isn't anal for Dave. But we are talking about a wrestling promotion we've never talked about before.
Only in
on this
passing.
show. Yes.
But we've not covered any other shows, any
We
other
haven't.
pay-per-views. We're going to be talking about Extreme Championship Wrestling.
what?
EC
That's what it used to be.
Eastern Championship
Before
Wrestling?
it became
Oh,
Extreme,
shit.
it was Eastern. And
Well, they didn't have to change their copyright.
No. That was
And
back
Paul
in like
Heyman,
94.
Paul Heyman's like, no.
That's smart.
Extreme.
That's
We
good.
Make it
will
extreme.
be extreme, ladies and gentlemen.
So we are going to talk about one of their first Heatwave pay-per-views, Heatwave 98, which is a pretty crazy-ass pay-per-view. And for someone like Mr. McDonald here who fucking loves gimmick matches,
Jesus Christ.
I don't know if he's watched it yet, but I have a feeling,
I hope you
I have
will
a
when you
feeling
watch
he's
it.
going to love it.
I feel like in the amount of time we had to prep for this episode, if I hadn't watched it at this point in time, there's something. My time management skills are way off.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I was almost too many gimmicks. Almost too much.
Oh, we're going to get to that.
almost too much.
That's a conversation we will have because that was a whole ass thing.
I played a drinking game watching it. Drink every time a gimmick happens.
But that was the whole damn show.
I know, it's great.
Except it's extreme, so they aren't actually gimmicks. They just do that.
That's just what it is. Yeah.
So we'll be talking about that next week. Also, we have another pretty big surprise coming next week.
Whoa.
But we're not going to tell you.
We're not going to tell you. No.
So thanks again, everybody, for sticking with us. I hope you listened to a backlog of shows over the past 2 months while we've been off air. But we are fucking excited to be back.
Catching
and we're
yourself
glad
up in the archives.
We are glad that you are back with us. And we look forward to sharing more podcast content with you into the future. So thanks for listening.
Yes.
And we will see you all next week.
Take care of yourselves out there. It's a crazy world.
Nothing good. Yahoo!